everyone, so this is my discussion regarding market structures. So I know you've heard about market structures, so it's actually perfect competition, oligopoly, monopoly, so familiar. Okay, so yun yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. So I've divided the discussion into two kasi I don't like it to be lengthy. Kasi mukhang yung mga ina-upload ko medyo mahaba-haba na ayoko naman ma-board kayo habang nakikinig. So first we'll discuss perfect competition and monopoly. Okay, so learning outcomes. So usually we have define and describe, market and its environment, classification, identify industries, so sino-sino yung mga industries belonging to the market structure, then formulate strategies for different business environments considering the market structure of the company. Okay, so let's start by defining market. So what is a market? So palengke ba siya? So market is actually any organization na may buyer and sellers that are kept in close touch with each other. So may 4 basic components para masabing market ang isang organization. It has consumers, sellers, commodity, and a price. Okay, so kapag yung 4 na basic components are present, you can say that a specific organization is actually a market. Okay, kaya ang palengke is a market. Okay, so ganon. Next, we have one of the crucial aspects in microeconomics is price determination. Bakit? Kasi you need to know if paano pricing mo if you are belonging to a certain market form. Kaya hindi basta-bastang, gusto ko mag-increase ng price, gusto ko mag-decrease ng price. Hindi. Kailangan mo pag-aralan kung saang market structure ka belonging. Kasi kapag hindi mo alam at basta ka na lang nag-decide, baka medyo malugi tayo or baka naman maging win-win situation. Depende sa reaction ng market mo. Okay? So, since every economic activity in the market is measured as per price, important concepts should be discussed. So, yun yung ating titingnan. Paano mag-pricing sa different market forms. Okay? The market forms itself and the pricing techniques. Actually, price determination. Okay? So, we have, ito yung 4 na i-discuss ko. So, perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. So, first we discuss perfect competition. Ano ba ang perfect competition? Pumunta ka sa palengke, yun yung perfect competition. Okay? So, perfect competition is a market structure characterized by complete absence of rivalry among the individual firms. Bakit? Kasi wala namang pinagkaiba yung binibenta nila. Same products, identical na identical. Hindi nga similar identical. So, pag pumunta ka sa palengke, pumunta ka sa gulayan, sibuyas is sibuyas, pechay is pechay, bawang is bawang. Okay? Pumunta ka sa meat section or sa fish section, fish is fish, tilapia is tilapia, pork is pork, and yun, bigas is bigas. Pero na lang kung binibili mong bigas is jasmine rice, yung mga ganun. Okay, dun lang naman nagkakaiba. Pero yung hilera ng rice section, yung bigasan, para-paras naman sila ng type ng rice na binibenta. Okay, so there's no rivalry. Hindi naman pwedeng sa isang stall, ang tinitindan niyang NFA rice is 20 pesos per kilo. Pagdating sa kabila, sa'yo, bakit naging 100 pesos per kilo? Hindi naman pwede. Parehas naman NFA. Ano pinagkaiba? Yung sa'yo, hugas. Ganon. Okay, so, ganon ang perfect competition. There's no differentiation in the product. Okay, so in practice, businessmen use the word competition as synonymous to rivalry. However, in theory, perfect competition is actually there's no rivalry among firms kasi pare-parehas lang naman sila ng tinitinda. Okay? So, assumptions, we have first is large number of sellers and buyers. So, maraming seller, marami rin ang buyer. Kaya nga tuwing lingguhan or tuwing Webesan, maraming tao sa palengke. Okay? So, there's walang significant impact sa perfect competition if you decided to buy 10 sacks of sibuyas. Okay? Wala siyang ganong impact sa kapwa magsisibuyas mo. Okay? So 10 sako ng sibuyas yung binili mo. So what? So, depende na sa iyo yun kung mabebenta mo lahat. Paano pag hindi, di nabulok? Ako, gusto ko 2 sacks of sibuyas lang. So, parang ganun. Okay, ganun siya. Next, we have product homogeneity. So, yun nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, identical na identical. Sibuyas is sibuyas. Okay? So, yan, associated with its sales and delivery is identical. So, pag pumunta ka sa palengke, para-parehas lang naman, di ba? Okay, maghahanap ka lang ng sariwa. Okay? Maghahanap ka lang ng pumpkin and squash. Ano tagal sa squash? Maghanap ka ng kalabasa na maligat. Okay? So, ganun. Next, we have free entry and exit of firm. So, para magkapwesto ka sa palengke, kukuha ka lang naman ng mga permit, bibili ka lang rerenta ka lang ng pwesto, babayad ka lang ng yung binabayaran per year sa mga pwesto or sa munisipyo, then yun na. Kung ayaw mo na magtinda, you're free to go. Sabihin mo lang sa administration ng palengke para alam nila if magrerenta ka pa o hindi, para maparenta nila sa iba. Ganun lang. Okay? So, walang barriers to entry. Kahit sino pwede magtinda ng isda, gulay, and pork and chicken. Basta may sanitation permit. Okay? Next, we have profit maximization. Ang goal mo lang naman is kumita. Okay? The goal of all firms under perfect competition is kumita. Okay? Next, no government regulation. Actually, there's no government intervention like tariffs, subsidies, rationing of production, or demand, and so on. Wala kailan lang nagkakaroon kapag may nag-hoarding ng sibuyas at bawang. Okay? Merong price freeze. Okay? Lalo na kapag may calamity, pinapa-price freeze yung mga basic commodities. Pero usually, kapag wala namang calamities, wala namang emergency, ang presyo, hindi naman naglalaan. Kapag sinabi ang selling price ng sibuyas is 65 per kilo, lahat 65. Okay? Kasi mahirap kapag ikaw nag-70 or pag nag-100 ka, tapos yung kalaban mo 65, para sa mga sibuyas. Okay? Dito na ako sa 65. So, yun. Kapag down na fulfill mo yung assumptions 1 to 5, ang tawag doon is pure competition. So, ma'am, kailan siya nagiging perfect? Kapag na-satisfy niya yung 6 and 7. So, ano yung 6? 6 is perfect mobility of factors of production. So, the factors of production are free to move from one firm to another throughout the economy. So, ano ba yung factors of production? We have man, we have land, capital, and entrepreneur, at may isa pa. Guys, help me. Factors of production. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. That's the 4 factors of production. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag nasa perfect competition ka, free-flowing yung apat na factors of production. Again, you have labor, land, okay, natural resources, and then capital, and then entrepreneur, yung businessman, yung mga entrepreneur, yung mga nag-start na negosyo, whether it's a businessman or entrepreneur. So, yun. Okay? So, perfect mobility. It's also assumed that workers can move between different jobs. So, yun. So, pwede siyang magtatalop ng patola doon sa isa, tapos sa kabila, kargador, mga ganun. My God. Anyway, so I think it's 8 o'clock nung nare-record ko to. I'm so sorry. Perfect knowledge. It is assumed that all the sellers and buyers have complete knowledge of the conditions of the market. So, alam ng buyers and sellers mo na ganito yung palitan sa market. Okay? Walang supply ng mais kasi hindi tag-mais. Walang supply ng rambutan kasi hindi tag-rambutan. Marami ngayon, tag-rambutan ngayon. So, maraming rambutan. So, makikita ninyo sa online sellers, marami nagtitinda ng rambutan ngayon. Last month, avocado. Okay? So, yun. Ganun siya. Perfect knowledge. Kung alam mo nangyayari. Okay? So, yun. So, yan. Firms in the perfect competition and pure competition are price takers. So, ang nagdidikta ng price is actually the prevailing market prices. Kapag pag buong Pilipinas, ang sibuyas is, pag buong Luzon, ang sibuyas is at 65, hindi ka pwede maglaro at 70, 100 pesos kasi 65 ang bigayan from the supplier, usually from Baguio. Okay? So, wala kang magagawa. Kahit ang puhunan mo lang is 10 pesos or 20 pesos, ang kita mo lang is 10 pesos and 20 pesos, wala kang magagawa. Kasi pag ikaw ang nagtaas ng presyo, walang bibili sa'yo. Kaya ang tawag sa mga nasa perfect competition is price takers. Kung ano na lang ang ibigay na presyo, yun na lang. Kahit hindi ganun kalaki ang kikitain mo. No choice ka. At least nakabenta ka. Yun na yun. Okay? Ang 10 pesos and 20 pesos is malaking bagay na. Okay? So, yun. Next, the demand curve is a normal downward sloping demand curve showing that for the industry as a whole, quantity demanded increases as price falls. So, normal na demand curve siya na downward sloping that true na when the price increases, the demand decreases. Okay? So, makikita mo yun, hindi ka na bibili ng sibuyas kapag puro sibuyas tayo. Anyway. Market condition. So, I have shown sa illustration dalawang graph. One is when it comes to price. Okay? So, yun yung normal downward sloping curve. And the other one is when it comes to revenue. Okay? You can see that, ano nga pag horizontal? It's perfectly elastic. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, at a certain price, okay, at a certain price, si firm, yung revenue niya is continuous. Okay? Continuously increasing, continuously changing, or infinitely changing. Okay? As quantity change. Okay? At price zero. Okay? So, pag tinaasa mo yung price, pwede siyang continuously decreasing kasi being faithful tayo sa law of demand. Pag binabaan mo yung price, continuously or instantaneously increasing. Okay? Depende. Wala talagang significant portion kaya siya perfectly elastic. Okay? So we have market condition. If a higher price is charged, customers would know immediately that a lower price is available elsewhere. That is why it is a perfect substitute. And that the product for sale at a lower price is a perfect substitute for the more expensive product. Doon tayo lagot kasi alam na marami nagtitinda katabi lang or katapat. Okay? So, pag mahal sa'yo, lilipat siya. Or magtatanong muna siya, sabi, balikan kita ha. Babalikan ko yan. Huwag kang mag-alala. Yung mga ganun linya. Alam mo na yun kasi magtatanong siya sa iba. Pag bumalik sa'yo, ibig sabihin, ikaw ang pinakamura. Pero pag hindi na bumalik sa'yo, ibig sabihin, may nabilhan na siyang iba. Or tinamad na siyang bumalik. Ganun lang yun. Okay? So, kailangan wais pag nagtitinda ka talaga na. When you're in a perfect competition, at a price lower than P, the firm would not maximize its profit. Okay? Pag ikaw, ba yung kanina, yung P0. For example, yung P0 is 65 per kilo ng sibuyas. Gusto mo maraming bumili sa'yo. Ginawa mong 60 per kilo. Eh, wala ka ng puhunan doon. Let's say, wala ka ng kita doon. For example, kaya sabi ang selling price ng per kilo is 65. Ang kuha kasi is 55 per kilo from the supplier. Eh, pag ikaw ay nag-60, ibig sabihin 5 pesos na lang ang tutubuin mo. Is it okay sa'yo? Eh, ang goal nga is profit maximization. Kailangan mag-isip. Okay, so, hindi mo maximize yung profit mo kasi may available choice ka naman na gawin mo 65. Bakit hindi mo gawin 65? Pare-parehas kayo. Gusto mo kasing mas maraming bumili sa'yo. Sabi nga ng mga inchi, pag mas mababa ang presyo, mas marami ang bibili. So, ganun siya. Next, we have a short-run analysis of a perfect competition. Yung sa short run, sa siguro mga a year, quarterly, again. So, the best level of output of a firm in the short run is the one at which the firm maximizes profit or minimizes losses. So, doon ka nga sa usually the selling price. It is possible that when marginal revenue of the firm equals its short run marginal cost. Okay? So, para na ma-maximize mo yung profit, you have your marginal revenue or the changes, yung magiging change mo from this year to next year, yung marginal revenue is the same with the marginal cost mo. Okay? So, if marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, it pays for the firm to expand output because by doing so, the firm would add more to its total revenue than to its total cost. Ibig sabihin, mas magandang marami kang supply para may benta. Okay? Kasi, kumikita ka na dito. Mas mataas yung marginal revenue mo eh. Pero if ang mas malaki yung marginal cost mo kaysa sa marginal revenue, it pays for the firm to reduce output. So, sa halip na 10 sako ng sibuyas, kung ang talagang magiging profit mo lang is 5 pesos, gawin mo na lang 2 sako ng sibuyas. Tapos, maghanap ka na lang ng ibang produkto kung saan mas malaki yung kikitain mo. Kaya, dun mo ibuhos lahat ng puhunan mo. Okay? So, pwede ka pa naman magtinda ng sibuyas, pero untian mo na lang yung bili mo kay supplier, tapos maghanap ka ng isang produkto na mas malaki ang kikitain mo dun. Ano? Okay? So, sa long run analysis naman, the long run, all inputs and costs of the production are available and the firm can construct the optimum or most appropriate scale of plant to produce at best level of output. So, alam mo na for example, in 10 years time, magsisibuyas ka, sibuyas na talaga nag-uusapan. Alam mo na talaga in the long run, magkano yung kikitain mo pag 10 sako ng sibuyas ang binili mo, magkano yung kikitain mo pag 5 sako ng sibuyas, magkano pag 20 sako ng sibuyas yon in the long run. Kaya alam mo na yung optimal output to produce. Okay? So, yun. The best level of output is one wherein price is equal to LMC or the long run marginal cost. Okay? So, of the firm. So, yun. Yan. Kailan ka magsha-shutdown? Ibig sabihin, kailan ka magsasara. Hindi magsasara ng closing time ha. As in, you will end the business. Okay? Shutdown point. Sorry, mauga. Nauga kasi yung At a price P, the firm is incurring a loss but it does not shut down because of fixed cost. So, ayaw mo kasi mag-shutdown kasi nakakontrata ka na, for example, yung bumili ka ng delivery truck, nakakontrata siyang babayaran mo ng 10 taon, fixed cost yon. Okay? So, hindi mo masara-sara yung iyong negosyo kasi alam mo, wala kang pambabayad doon if naisara mo. So, in the short run, a firm knows that it must pay this fixed cost regardless of whether it produces or not. Okay? The firm only considers the cost it can save by stopping the production. So, yung consider mo lang malimit is variable cost. Okay? So, alam mong may fixed cost ka na. Tanggap mo na yon. Okay? Kung didiretso mo pa rin siya, yung negosyo mo, ang titingnan mo na lang is yung variable cost. Yun yung iingatan mo. Dapat, nasasagot pa rin ng revenues mo yung variable cost mo. Kaya, kahit kaunti lang yung kinikita mo or naglolos ka, ang mahalaga is kaya pa ring i-cover mo yung fixed cost. Okay? So, titingin ka kay variable cost na will I shut down or not? If kaya ko pang i-cover yung variable cost, sige. Magpapatuloy ako. Okay? Pero pag hindi ko na kaya i-cover yung variable cost, tapos meron pa akong fixed cost, sobrang laki na ng net loss ko. Kasi pwede ka kasing mag-net loss, okay? So, you have revenue minus variable cost. So, may tira pa. Tapos yung tirang yon, maminusan mo ng fixed cost, nag-net loss ka. Okay lang yun kasi na-cover mo yung variable cost. Pero kapag revenue minus variable cost, 0 na, tapos may fixed cost ka, negative pa, net loss na, shutdown ka na. Okay? So, yun. The point at which MC is equal to average variable cost is the shutdown point. Okay, yun ang tatandaan nyo. Marginal cost is equal to the average variable cost. Mag-shutdown ka na kasi mas malaki ang matitipid mo or mas mababa ang loss mo pag nag-shutdown ka na. Kaysa sa mag-stay sa business ka kasi mag-i-incur ka lang ng loss at liabilities. Okay? Next, as long as the firm's total revenue is covering, yun yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. If it still covers the variable cost, sige, tuloy mo lang kahit nag-net loss ka kasi kaya ka lang naman nag-net loss kasi binayaran mo yung fixed cost. Okay? So, yun. Now, we're done with perfect competition. We're now going to discuss monopoly. Okay? Ano po yung monopoly? Alam mo na naiisip niyo yung kalakalangal yun sa history. Monopoly yun ang kalakalangal yun. Okay? So, yun. Yung nag-iisa lang siyang galyon or ano bang galyon? Parang ship na nagbebenta ng opium. Opium ba yun? If you know your history, if you're good with history, you know that there is a monopoly in opium nung panahon ng Kalakalangal yun. Okay? So, yan. Monopoly is said to exist when one firm is the sole producer or seller of a product which has no close substitutes. Okay? So, isa lang yung nagpo-produce na firm. Tapos maraming buyer. Okay? One seller, many buyers, okay? Walang close substitutes. Siya lang talaga. Okay? No close substitutes for the product of that firm should be available. So, yun yung conditions of para masabing monopoly ka. Okay? The following conditions are essentials. One and only one firm produces and sells a particular commodity or service. So, siya lang. Two, there are no rivals or direct competitors. So, wala kang competitors, ikaw lang at ikaw talaga. Then, no other seller can enter the market for whatever reasons. So, mataas ang barriers of entry, legal, technical, or economic. And then, monopolist is a price maker. Okay? He tries to take the best of whatever demand. Siya yung nagdidikta ng presyo. Kasi walang choice ang seller kundi sa kanya lang bumili kasi siya lang nagbebenta. That's a monopolist. Okay? So, kapag sinabi niyang ang presyo ng gantong produkto, yung produkto ko is at, let's say, yung vaccine, yung COVID-19 vaccine, if there's a monopolist na siya lang yung approved, siya lang yung proven and tested na effective sa COVID-19 virus, matatawag siyang monopolist if he dictates if he's the only provider, if na-satisfy niya lahat to, if he's the only provider and he can dictate na, kunwari, ang isang vaccine is worth 100,000 pesos. No choice. Kung ikaw ay life and death situation, you will take the 100,000 pesos. Life and death situation because of COVID-19. It's a monopolist. Any negosyo in mind who is a monopolist? Okay? Best example actually of a monopolist is your public utility provider sa lugar niyo. For example, sa amin, sa tubig, Prime Water, siya lang naman kasi nag-o-offer ng connection sa tubig. Sa kuryente in Batangas City, it's Meralco, siya lang naman. Okay? Pero hindi lang si Meralco ang energy provider or electricity provider sa province. Merong Battle 1, 2, 3. Okay? May First Bay. Okay? So, yun. So, pero sa Batangas City, Meralco lang ang nagpo-provide ng electricity. Kung gusto mo yung Battle, pwede ka magpatayo ng sarili mong tower na connected kay Battle. Kuya, ayaw mo sa Okay? So, ganun siya. There's only one firm in the industry and so there is no difference between the demand curve of the industry and the firm. So, parehas yung demand curve niya when it comes to the industry and the firm. So, yun. And then, since a normal demand curve is assumed, it is necessary for the monopolist to reduce price in order to increase the quantities sold. So, kailangan, law of demand tells us that when the price decreases, quantity demanded increases. Okay? So, di ba? So, para kung gusto niya maubos lahat ng stocks niya, babaan niya yung presyo niya. Okay? Pero pag gusto niyang kumita, taasan niya yung presyo niya. However, the demand for it, if he's an essential good, no choice, sa kanya pa rin bibili. Pero if he's a luxury good, baka wala nang bumili sa kanya. Ganun lang yun. Okay? In other words, in order to increase sales, the monopolist must reduce the price of all goods sold and therefore marginal revenue. So, kung gusto niya talaga mag-increase doing social benefit, okay, sa community, if gusto niyang maraming tumangkilik sa kanya, babaan niya ang presyo niya. Okay? Kasi ang tendency ng tao, maghahanap yan at maghahanap ng paraan. Okay? Kung hindi ko na kayang magbayad ng electricity, edi paputol ko na lang, gagawa na lang sarili kong paraan para magka-electricity ko. May solar naman ako mga ganon. Okay? So, yun. Charge na lang ako 7-Eleven, rechargeable ilaw, gano'n. Okay? So, we have sources of monopoly. Saan ang gagaling itong what gives birth to a monopolist? So, una, legal restrictions. We have some public sector services are statutory monopolists. Okay? So, which means that their position is protected by law. Okay? So, we have I'm thinking of a negosyo na protected monopolist. Actually, sa Pilipinas, wala masyadong yung protected monopolist. yung ano lang, yung mga public services, yun nga, yung tubig, ilaw. Okay? Actually, they're protected monopolist eh. So, there are incentives, there are tax incentives, there are legal laws protecting them. Okay? Kahit tinitira yung Meralco, walang magagawa kasi Meralco is one of the biggest energy producing firm. Okay? A monopoly position might also be protected by a patent. Okay? So, ito naman, kunwari nga, yung vaccine sa COVID-19, ikaw yung nakapag-develop, agad-agad lagyan mo ng patent. Kasi once you present it to the public, pwede yung kopyahin. At if walang patent yung iyong invention, okay, wala kang habol doon. Okay? Pero if it's protected by patent at ikaw lang ang sole producer ng vaccine na yon, you are a monopolist. Okay? Next, we have capital cost. Okay? Kaya ka naging monopolista kasi ikaw lang ang may kakayahan na mag-provide or mag-fund nung negosyo na yun. Have relatively high setup cost kasi kunwari, nagpapatayo ka ng gusto mong lagyan ng free wifi ang buong Pilipinas, nakaproduce ka ng isang invention na magpapalagay ka ng satellite outside outside Earth. Basta sa labas, okay, in outer space, tapos sa Pilipinas lang, free wifi, doon tayo makikoconnect, super bilis. Okay, ikaw lang naka-invento noon, may patent, ikaw lang kasi yung mapera kasi yung spaceship, yung mismong equipment na mag-orbit sa Earth, yung mga tauhan, mga ganun, yung mga satellite dish, okay? So, lahat yon kasi mayaman ka, ikaw lang may kayang gumawa nun. Capital cost, funding. Okay? Next, natural factor endowment. Ito naman, natural gift sa country. For example, you have, sa Africa, they have the natural gift sa earthly natural gift na madami sa kanilang diamonds. Even if Africa is considered as a third world country or a developing country, their natural resource, they're abundant in diamonds. Okay? So, they're one of the biggest exporters of diamonds. Ano pa? Sa Pilipinas, we are exporting bananas. Okay? In the United States, and coconuts. Okay, what else? Sa Middle East, ano ang kanilang monopoly product? Gasolina, crude oil. Okay? So, sa kanila, import-export ng maraming bansa. Kaya, superpower ang Middle East kasi nasa kanila nagpapatakbo ng mundo. Charing. Okay? So, yan. Natural factor endowment. So, yun lang yan. Next. Tariff and quotas. So, a tariff raises the price of goods imported to the domestic economy and a quota restricts the volume that can be imported. Okay? Ang tariff is kapag, for example, nag-import ka ng products from the United States, bago siya pumasok sa Pilipinas, magbabayad muna siya ng tariffs and duties sa customs. Okay? Sa Bureau of Customs. So, depende yun sa kilogram, sa weight niya. Okay? Kung magkano ang babayaran. That's tariffs. Ang quotas naman is the number of goods na i-import. Hindi pwedeng, for example, mag-i-import ka ng bigas na lang. Mag-import ka ng bigas from neighboring Southeast Asian countries. So, if ikaw lang yung may kayang magbayad ng tariffs and quotas at sumaswa ka sa quota, okay? Hindi ka considered monopolist, okay? If ikaw ay nagtitinda ng bigas or nag-harvest ka ng palay, ginagawa mong bigas, okay? Tapos, ikaw lang yung distributor sa Pilipinas. So, ang tendency ng government is mag-import. So, as protection of a sole monopolist, Okay, sa bansa, nagkakaroon ng tariffs and quotas para limited yung importation. Okay, kasong Pilipinas very friendly eh. Marami tayong imported bigas. So, ang dehado is our farmers. So, anyway. So, yun yung kung bakit may tariffs and quotas. They protect the domestic industry from yung nawawala na lang ng market tayo kasi na parang biglang dumagsa yung mga imported goods. So, ganun. Okay? We have price discrimination. Price discrimination is personal when different prices are charged from different persons, and local when different prices are charged from people living in different localities and according to use when, for example, higher rates are charged for commerce. Okay? Price discrimination. Una, personal. Kapag bakit mas mataas ang singil mo sa akin kaysa sa kanya? Pre, kaibigan ko yan eh. Ninang yan ng aking ng anak eh. Price discrimination. O hindi kaya naman, kasi may special conditions or may special incentives yung company sa amin, sa monopolist. Kaya binigay ko sa kanya yung mas mababang presyo. Okay, kumbaga win-win situation para sa amin dalawa. So, may kapalit. Pwede yon. O di kaya nga yung kanina, connections. Okay? Pag local naman, mas kita nyo yung gasolina. Bakit kaya mas mahal sa Batangas City kaysa sa ibaan? So, sabi, it's because of the tax. Okay? So, kunwari, yung ganong konsepto na lang yung lugar-lugar. Bakit mas mahal bakit mas mura sa Baguio na mga gulay kaysa sa Batangas? Okay? That's price discrimination. Kung siya lang yung sole supplier ng gulay sa Batangas. However, hindi naman silang sole supplier eh. For example, bakit mas mahal ang singil nyo ni Middle East kay United States ng gas kaysa sa Pilipinas? Secret. Okay, so ganon. And then, according to use, ito, ramdam to ng mga may parents na negosyante. Mas mahal ang singil sa kuryente at tubig sa commercial space kaysa sa residential area. That's price discrimination. Okay? Next, price discrimination is possible when the seller is able to distinguish individual units bought by a single buyer or to separate buyers into classes where resale among classes na. If alam ni monopolist na loyal buyer siya or loyal niyang customer, special discounts are available. Pwede niyang i-pinpoint yon. Pero kung first time na customer at kakonti-konti lang nabibili, kakonti yung discounts na binibigay. Mababait naman ang mga monopolist. Sabi. Okay? Price discrimination is possible in case of personal services of doctors and lawyers. For example, ang doktor, pag kamag-anak niya or kapamilya niya, minsan libre pang consultation. Okay, ang lawyer, kapag hindi kasi siya pwedeng ang lawyers cannot have conflict of interest. Okay, kaya meron sila yung pro bono cases at meron sila yung may bayad. When you say pro bono is yung libre. I-defend ka sa court libre basta pasok ka sa hindi naman parang hindi mo afford ang isang lawyer. Okay, bukod pa dun sa public attorney's office. So, merong mga private lawyers na merong tinatawag na pro bono cases wherein walang babayaran na attorney's fees yung mag-hire sa kanila. Okay, basta alam ni attorney na you are not financially capable of having a private attorney to defend you. Okay, so yon. It's price discrimination. Okay? Kasi bakit yung sa kanya, sa iba, pinapabayad niya, sa'yo hindi. So that's price discrimination. It is also possible when markets are too distant or are separated by tariff barriers. So, pag matataas yung tariffs, okay, for example, mas mahal ang singil sa, let's say, for example, sa Korea, kasi mas mataas ang tariffs na binibigay doon kaysa sa Pilipinas kasi mababa ang tariffs natin. There may be a legal sanction for price discriminations in case of electricity charges for domestic industrial users. Kaya ramdam niyo ito ngayon, kay Meralco, masyadong mataas ang singil kasi mali ang compute. Okay, so ganun siya. Pag masyadong halata yung price discrimination, pwedeng makasuhan. Okay? Monopoly underproduction, yan. Si monopolies, pwede siyang mag-underproduce. Okay? Results when a monopoly curtails output to a level at which the marginal revenue of resources employed as measured is less than marginal social benefit derived. Marginal social benefit is measured by the price that customers are willing to pay for additional output. Okay? So, pwede mo siya at level at which marginal value of resources employed are measured by the marginal customer is less than the marginal. Okay? So, if sa tingin niya, nalulugi na siya sa bigay niyang price or sa marginal social benefit na nakukuha niya or yung masyadong mababa yung willingness or yung dinidikta ni customer na kaya niyang bayaran doon sa monopolist, mag-underproduce na lang siya. Anong problema ng underproduction? Baka mawalan ng supply, ikaw lang ang seller. Si monopolist lang ang seller. So pag nawalan ng supply, shortage, baka magkaroon ng disgrasya. Baka magkaroon ng malaking effect sa market. So yun. Deadweight loss. So, ito naman, tendency for monopoly firms to restrict output to increase prices and earn economic profits. Yeah. Deadweight loss. So, rise to a deadweight loss from monopoly prices. Ito yung hoarding. Ikaw lang yung sole manufacturer, yung sole producer, you're the monopolist, you underproduced, you restricted the output, para hintayin mong tumaas yung presyo. Okay? Yung sasabihin ng customer, sige, kahit magkano yan, bibilhin namin. Kailangan namin. So, re-restrict mo, hintayin mo tumaas ang presyo, tapos saka ka maglalabas ng paunti-unti kapag tumataas yung presyo niya. Deadweight loss. Okay? This is actually a problem kasi parang nabawala yung social responsibility mo sa community kasi ikaw na nga lang yung producer. Bakit ka nagmamadamot? Okay? So, yun. So, this is like any restriction on supply, the reduced levels of economic activity in the monopoly markets create a loss in social welfare due to the decline in mutually beneficial trade activity. So, dahil sa kasakiman mo, naapektuhan yung economic activity in the market. Okay? So, if you become a monopolist, please, do not be too greedy. Okay? Economies of scale. So, usually, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung capital cost. So, because monopolies can afford higher capital costs, okay? They have overwhelming economies of scale. Ano yung economies of scale? They have produced, they can produce output at a rate that is efficient and effective. Ibig sabihin, mataas yung machine value nila, magaganda state-of-the-art yung machinery nila, then, yung cost nila is mababa. Okay? Mas mababa yung na-incur nilang cost, pero mas madaming output yung na-produce nila. So, ganun siya. Economies of scale. So, large capital requirements, yun. A natural monopoly is capable of producing goods and services desired by customers at a lower total cost. So, alam mo, kumbaga, you're a monopolist, alam namin na malamang economies of scale na yung ini-implement mo sa iyo. So, low na yung cost mo. Kaya alam namin if masyado na mataas yung cost, mataas yung selling price na inilalapat mo sa public. Okay? So, yun. So, there's a chance that an established natural monopolist could use its dominance of the marketplace to unfairly restrict production and raise prices. So, the same. So, inventions and innovations, ito yung kanina, yung kay COVID-19. So, to achieve the benefits flowing from dynamic, innovative, and leading firms, public policy sometimes confers explicit monopoly rights. So, ano yung explicit monopoly rights? Example is a patent. If siya lang talaga pinakagawa, sige, bigyan natin ng patent. If nabigyan ka ng patent at wala nang ibang makakagaya sa iyo. Okay? Kapag meron, charit. Pag meron, pwede mo silang kasuhan. Buyer power. So, we have different types of buyer power. Buyer, ha? Oligopsony exists when there are only a handful of buyers present in a market. Monopsony exists when a market features a single buyer of a desired product output. So, oligopsony, maraming buyer. Ang monopsony, isa lang ang buyer. Okay? Monopsony power enables the buyer to obtain lower prices. Pag siya lang yung buyer, pwedeng siya yung mag-dictate kung magkano yung presyong kaya niya. Okay? So, pwedeng maraming seller. Okay? Pero hindi na monopoly yun pag marami ng seller. At ako lang yung buyer, pwede kong sabihin na, ay gusto ko at ganto-ganto lang yung price. Pero isipin din ng buyer na mag-represent yung mga sellers. Tapos, bidding, sino mas mababang price, sino pipiliin ng buyer. Hopefully. Monopsony power characterizes local labor markets with a single major employer and local agriculture with a single feed mill or grain buyer. Okay, so then we have it is least harmful and sometimes beneficial, and then monopsony buyer faces a monopsony seller. May bilateral. So sila lang yung nagbibilihan. Isang buyer, isang seller. Win-win situation. Kumbaga, they can arrange it on their own. Kung magkano yung presyo, may discount ba, kailan ako o-order, mga ganun. Okay? Okay? That ends part 1. Yun na pala ending niya. That ends part 1. So, just wait for part 2. Bye-bye!